$75 sticker on it. I said, that's a pretty cool card. Looked it up. The last sale was $275.
Did you offer him like 65?
I offered him 60.
No, you dirty dog. Well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a weird position to be in. I feel like I haven't been in this spot for quite some time, especially being gone for half the month. Your boy, Sports Boy, is running the show today. Mikey is out. He's with the fam, running some personal errands. What we have today, though, is a special guest. One of my favorite go-to backups, Mr. Alex of Clever Cuban Cards. How the heck are you, Alex?
I'm doing well. How are you, Jesse?
I'm great. Before we started the show, we had an in-depth conversation about Harry Potter, Topps cards, PSA, all the things that I feel like, as we were talking about them, I was like, this is all great fodder for conversation on the podcast. At this point, given where some of those topics went, I'm kind of glad we kept some of it off air. But I do want to talk about a number of things. First off, why is it that you are so popular on the internet? Did you know like your content is some of the most popular on the SCN channel these days, other than the Mike and Jesse Hour?
I'd actually argue that on YouTube, I'm more popular than the Mike and Jesse Hour.
I didn't want to say that. I mean, apparently you have no problem saying that, but okay, whatever.
You guys beat me podcast-wise. That's fine.
Your content is very, very popular, and that's why it's like it's fun to have you in here because you can maintain a conversation even though like half the time I feel like the preparation of like, hey, this is what we're going to talk about specifically is very limited. So you're good to jump in there. So I'm glad you were able to jump in.
Yeah, I think I riff well. I think that, I keep things transparent, honest, and kind of, I think I have an appeal to collectors who are newer to the hobby, the education side. I'm a former teacher, things like that.
Yeah.
But also the business side and growing and using the hobby to fund the hobby, and the reality of running a card business day to day is, I think, really interesting and fun for people to see.
Now, Mike's not here. I feel like Mike and I's nonsense level has been, it's all-time lows. Very little nonsense. I don't care for it. I would like to add in some nonsense today.
Let's do it.
What's the best meal you've had in the last week?
Best meal that I had in the last week. This will lead into nonsense. We probably made some good tacos the other night.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
What kind of? Are we talking like traditional tacos, or like a little cilantro, a little onion on there, or are we talking? You're talking about like a white man's taco, maybe a little ground beef.
I mean, I'm Cuban. I know how to season my food.
Okay. I'm sorry. Wow, on the race Cuban. Card early.
I am.
Okay,
people
that's fine.
Because I look like Harry Potter, but that's fine.
Dude, no one said you looked like Harry Potter.
Everyone
Who said
says
that?
it. It's
no
fine.
one has
It's
ever
true.
said that. That's the first time I've ever heard it, for sure. Well, Alex is here, and as always, this episode is brought to you by eBay Live, so it's even more special that Alex is here because Alex, unlike your boy, is officially activated on eBay Live. Congratulations.
Yeah. So launch tonight, Clever Cuban Cards page on eBay Live, 6:30 p.m. Central. I have 175 singles that we're selling. All baseball tonight. Tomorrow night, we have football and baseball mixed stream. But tonight, if you come on over, every single card that we sell will get a free Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, or Bobby Witt Jr. card.
Wait, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's
every
kind of
single
cool.
card. I got a stack of 175 of those guys. It's mostly Ohtani. I'd say it's about 50% Ohtani, 50% Judge/Witt. And every single person that buys a card will get a free Ohtani, Judge, or Witt card.
Can I make an assumption that this is all like raw?
It's not. I sell slabs. The giveaways are all raw cards.
Okay. All right. I was like, if you're also giving away slab cards, this boy, I'm getting in on that. Well, what are we talking in range of cards, just so I know? Because I like to get in on the little mid-tier to maybe lower-tier range.
I tend to collect. I'm more focused on collectors. I don't do super high-end stuff.
Okay.
My average card that I sell tends to, inclusive of the nicer slabs, tends to average out to $15-ish.
Oh.
So it's...
dang. That's not bad.
I like collectors. I like cards that people like to collect, and that's kind of my focus. So one of the things that I do that's unique is I pre-list all of my inventory. So if you want to see, Jesse, right now, you go over to the Clever Cuban Cards page on eBay.
Yeah.
You can see all 175 cards that I have with listing titles. So I use a app called Haystack. I use that. It's listing titles. I have pictures, full descriptions of the cards, front and back photos, so you can see exactly what we've got. I run it in exact order. Everything's pre-listed, so you can go do the research and figure out what you want to pay. You don't have to deal with the 10 seconds, oh my God, what do I want to pay? I'm going to swipe and then realize that you overpaid.
Oh, I love
You can
that.
do your research beforehand, which if you're listening now, do that before we go live at 6:30.
Can I ask you a question? Did you get like the haystack, like the little, the green thing that holds the card and all that? How long did it take you to go through and put in those cards, get the pictures? Because I mean, once the picture is taken, the AI does a great job of like sorting it. And then I've added cards myself just seamlessly from their app into eBay. But how long does it take you to do 175 cards into that?
In terms of just photos and then actual confirming that the AI got it right and correcting anything that it may have thought it was a gold wave versus a gold geometric, the simple little mistakes that happen. I'd say generally that portion takes about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes.
For 175
cards.
Would you recommend the Haystack's not a sponsor or anything? I'm just curious if you would recommend it.
I'm really enjoying it. I think it works really well. You also don't have to have the little scanner that they have. It's the light box. If you just have a regular light box, you can buy one on Amazon for $15 and it works with it perfectly fine as well. So, yeah, you don't need the fancy thing. I mean, it works a little bit better, I think.
The technology is probably the best part of it, right?
So it works well for me. I've had good success. And again, helps me pre-list everything that it saves me a bunch of time because I used to have to go do that manually. But with eBay Live, I know, title sponsor of the show, the great thing is that all of those listings show up on eBay Core. So for me, it really was a push of with getting started and getting rolling on eBay Live. It's great because all of the cards that I list will then show up on eBay. So if you search for, a Shohei Ohtani card that I have tonight. If you search Shohei Ohtani, you might find the card that I'm running at $1 starting tonight during one of my live auctions, as well as after the show, those will then pop up as comps. So you can actually see what cards are actually selling for, which is a more complete picture of the market.
I love that it has the ability to do it. I should preface, I don't necessarily know if I love the idea for everybody to do it because I do worry about bad actors. I've talked about that before.
Oh, yeah, with people potentially show bidding and things like that.
Or even if it's not show bidding, it's like, what if because I know eBay has strict rules about giveaways and those things too. So you can't just have a giveaway with everything. But the fact is, if you give away the same thing with every sale, then you're okay to do it. But then it's like, hey, did someone actually pay more for that item than they would have? So because of the giveaway, and therefore, does that comp accurately reflect what someone else's comp would have been if it was just the card?
And I think it's an interesting debate because the conversation is had all the time in regards to live sales. And I think, honestly, there are instances where things go crazy. I talked about my first eBay live stream that I did on the SCN page. We had a Pete Armstrong rookie base card out of Cosmic Chrome. It's like a $5-6 card, do like $50. I threw in some free stuff with that, but the person bid and they said, hey, I like the card, I'm happy with it, whatever. Obviously, that went really high. For the most part, do things go a little high sometimes? Yes. Do things go a little low sometimes? Yes. Yeah. I think in all reality, if you were to actually accurately capture all live sales, you would see the variance and it would probably average out to what it actually is worth. You have the people that are smaller that have 4 or 5 viewers that are running nice cards. That's a $30 Aaron Judge card that I buy for $5 because they have 3 viewers in their room.
Which that's always a nice feeling.
It is a nice feeling for me, but for them it's a bad feeling. But that happens in live streams as well as the $30 card that might sell for $50, but it averages out to actually then a accurate, picture on the market.
I could get behind that thinking. I like that. $15 slabs. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
I have a firm belief that if you get a card graded and it's like a modern card and that card comes back as 9 or 10, it should sell for more than $15. Because, I mean, you're paying grading fees that are going to cost more than that. It does stink that we live in a world where that's not always the case, of course. There's plenty of $5 slabs out there. And that can be cool because sometimes you can get a good deal on those and resale, give it a few months. Maybe that if it's an athlete, maybe it turns around, they play a little better, and all of a sudden you can pay, sell it for something a little bit more. But honestly, if we're talking about slabs just in general, if I have a 9 or a 10 and someone has a raw card, how often in your personal feeling should that card outsell the raw?
So I agree with you conceptually. I think that the market valuing a raw card at more than a PSA 9 in some instances and examples, or SGC 9.5 even.
Yeah.
To me, does not logically make sense, but I always go back to the statement of the market is going to market.
Yeah.
That you can say that it makes no sense, and I can conceptually agree with you. I'd also say, though, that from a perspective of a buyer, it's not my problem or choice that you decided to grade that card.
If
you grade a card, so I'm looking actually last night on eBay, I bought a Ronald Acuna Jr. Bowman's Best Reels Mini Diamond. It's a cheap card. It's an insert. PSA 9. $4.25.
You got that card for $4. Okay, yeah.
But it's real. It's as a raw card, it's not super expensive. I mean, the numbered out of 50 does $12. Like it's probably a $3 to $4 card raw. That person's choice to send that card in to get grading.
Sure, that
was a choice. I personally, and PSA even said on this show that their increase in the price of cards grading, as well as the turnaround time, was to basically say, hey, send us less cards, but better quality cards.
Yes, yeah.
Stop sending the $3 card, because what's going to happen is if it gets a 9, you're going to get $4 for it, which is what I bought that card for last night. So it's not my problem as a buyer that you decided to grade it. It's like you have guys on, live streams say, oh, you do repacks, and they have no-name players that are PSA 9s, and they say, oh, well, it's a $20 card because it costs $20 to grade it. No, it's not. The card is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it, if that's 100%. What it goes for.
Yes. I guess my thinking, too, is if it is not a 9 or a 10, are you just as good to just crack it? Or in some cases, honestly think if you're in a better situation to just crack it and sell it raw.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, unless there's a glaring defect, because then you get the mentality of many who are just going to say, oh, well, that looks like it may not gem mint, but I could get a 9 out of it at least. But you just got an 8 out of it. And if you do think you should do that, is there a morality issue with that?
This has been a topic that's been debated in my comment sections for a while. My personal opinion is, and we saw it with a video that Teapot and Jeff Wilson have both done on Sports Card Investor, where they crack slabs and they send them back in. You see the subjectivity of grading.
Absolutely.
Grading is a human being who is grading it. You can send it to the same company 5 different times and it will get potentially 5 different grades.
Yep.
My personal opinion on is it ethical to crack cards that are a low grade and then resell them as a raw card, is as long as you are being transparent and honest about the condition of the card itself. So I bought yesterday a Tom Brady Select Color Wheel at a collegiate, it's a case hit, really, really cool card.
Okay.
Does $150 raw. I bought a PSA 8 for $96. You can bet that I'm going to crack that card. What are you doing with that card?
Yeah, you are.
Literally, I can tell you right now, I'm going to crack it. Now,
you bought it with the intention to crack it, though,
correct.
Right? Yeah.
Yep, because I will then sell that card raw. But I'm going to look at that card, and if there are any major defects, if there's a soft corner, if there's a surface indent that is the reason why it got a PSA 8, that is, you need to disclose that information. If I don't disclose flaws, as the seller.
Okay.
So if I don't disclose that there are flaws, if it truly is a PSA 8 and there is a reason why it is given a near mint grade and not a mint or gem mint grade, then you're being a scumbag. But as long as you're being transparent, because let's be honest, honestly, maybe we do a little experiment. Maybe I send it back to PSA and see what it gets.
Well,
let's try it. I'm going to do it.
Okay. I hope you do. I would love to see the content from it, because here's my thinking is, if you are cracking, because I honestly believe there are plenty of people out there right now who have PSA 8 in their eBay search, like just the functionality where it tells you the next eBay PSA 8 of whatever card got listed. So they get the notification. They can go out there and try and snatch it up, because I think there's plenty of people who have the same mentality of, oh, if it's an 8, why couldn't it be a 9?
Yep.
And if it's a 9, why maybe it could be a 10? There's people out there who are doing the exact thing of, I think I can get a deal on an 8 and then either crack it and just sell it raw, and or crack it and just see what I can do as a 9. If I could regrade it and get a 9 or a 10. I think we are getting to the point where it used, like when I started learning more about the hobby back 2020, I didn't really know much in the way of like what the procedure was when it came to if I have a card that has a flaw, a defect in some way, what's okay, what's not okay.
Yep.
I quickly learned that most things seem to be not okay, and a few things were okay as far as like the trying to fix a card in some fashion. What I am starting to see more and more acceptance of, especially as you see like the Pokemon community being like very accepting of restoration of cards, I think that is spilling over more and more to the sports side of things as well.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, a listener of the show, Cole Benz, he sent me this post that it was a recent post of a Pawn Stars episode where it was a comic book that had some flaws in it, had some corners that
they will restore
had issues,
comic books,
and it's encouraged.
Yes,
it was talked about
culture.
as a thing that should be done so that you can get a better value. I think we are on the cusp of spilling over, and if maybe we're already there, but spilling over from the majority being anti-restoration to the majority being pro-restoration. I am curious what your thoughts are.
I think that the big question, and I'm very aligned with PSA's stance on this, is that there are things that if you are adding something to a card, if you are doing a polish, if you're doing something of that nature, the question that they have, which I think is a very fair question, is, if you use a polish on the surface of a card to make the hollow look better.
Yeah.
Does it look better right now? Yes.
Will it look better?
In 10 years, does it look better? Or is there does that substance that you're rubbing on the surface, in the same way that you can have a card that if you let sit out in the sun, it's going to, lose its color, or the old refractors will green, the auto will fade, etc.
Yep.
You don't know what is going to happen to that card as a result of those things. And I think that hopefully what's being done right now is they're doing some experiments and trying some things and saying, okay, what is an acceptable form of restoration? In the same way that, I don't think that it's an issue if I have had it happen before. Julio Rodriguez rookie year, I bought a Julio, the super short print image variation.
Okay.
I bought it on a crazy good deal because it had a dinged corner.
Okay.
Bad corner. When the card came in, I literally just between my fingers flattened the corner out and just, held it.
Yep.
Just to kind of push that paper, the kind of ding back down.
Yep.
Sent it off to PSA. Got a 10.
Really?
I did not add anything to that card. I did not remove anything from that card.
I think that's perfectly fine.
To me, that is fine.
Like when I pull a card out of when I last night, I was ripping, I had some exclusive Disneyland boxes.
Yes,
and
I saw some of the
Star
things you pulled.
Trek.
Yeah.
It was very cool product. But like a couple of the cards that I pulled, I think it was like the Star Trek cards, like for whatever reason, corner just turned up.
Yep.
And I was just like, all right, this is like just a base card. I know they're not even going to grade it, but I just want to say, so I just like squeezed it, just kind of gave it just a tiny little twist down, and it looked fine.
Yep.
And I'm just like, that's, to some people that would be considered like, oh, you just altered that card, and that's a big no-no. To me, I say, if I can do it, I didn't add anything. I didn't take anything away.
Yep. You're not trimming the cards. You're not adding color. You are just simply
and you think
handling it.
If we're two average guys in the hobby, which I would like to think we're two average people, then the majority are average, and therefore they are probably going to think along the same lines. So when do we get to the point, or are we already at the point where you go to shows and yes, the 10s or the gem mints, that's what people want. They want that PSA 10. But if I can find a PSA 8 or 9 for substantially less, why don't I take a second glance at that card and see, oh, maybe it was just because of this or this little corner or that little indentation.
Oh, yeah.
Because like they're getting indents out as well. I don't really understand how all that works, but if they're not
using humidity and things
exactly,
like that.
But not adding, not taking away. And if that is the case, is that like are we going down a bad path by doing that? I don't know. I don't necessarily think we are, but I would be open to someone's opposite point of view.
Yeah, I think that I hope that there's just as I said, the experimentation to see basically what actually does impact the card, like people and it's more common in vintage cards, but like soaking cards, if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Does that make it look better in the short term? Seemingly, yes, from the results that some people have had. Is that permanent or not?
Yeah, because they're like some of those soakings can come back. Coloration just messes up inside of the holder after it's graded.
Yes,
yeah.
Which to me, that's where, and again, with PSA's policy, which is an amazing policy of that they stand by their grade. I have a friend that had a card that, the slab or something had some sort of defect in it and some moisture got in and it, the card was therefore no longer a 10.
Yeah.
PSA said, hey, we're going to reholder it, but there's a chance that the grade is going to change because of this. And it changed to an 8 and they cut him a check.
Which I think
is an
like
amazing
something
thing.
Nobody talks about is the fact like
they stand by their grade.
You pay for, there's a premium you're paying with PSA grading, but that's because of things like the insurance that goes into the fact of, hey, if something like that happens, they're going to cut a check to make it right.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool that it does also make more sense of why they do have such strict guidelines on it. I guess it's like, I think of ways of taking advantage of what we're already dealing with instead of like reinventing the wheel of like, hey, what's the next new gadget or card product or something like that I can introduce to either gain more popularity in content or sell to somebody else. I want to just find the things that I'm already enjoying, which is buying the cards I like. And then, hey, if I can make that card more valuable, whether it's for my own PC or to flip, and I'm not doing anything that would be considered, ultimately on the largest scale of the collectors be viewed negatively, then I don't know. Personally, I don't have that big of an issue with it. But I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of laws out there that the majority may disagree with, but we still have to follow them. So it's like I am always open to a devil's advocate point of view, but in my personal thinking, it's like, can we be a little bit more flexible on some of those things? But along these topics, I think one of the things we talked about before the show was the line of being connected and or connecting to our roots and avoiding burnout in the hobby. Because a lot of the things we talk about, especially just that, we're talking about like increasing value, right? Like sometimes it is for a PC, but we talk about it because it's like, oh, well, my value on that card can go up and I can go flip it. Because that is part of your job, right? Like when you're not doing content, you are selling cards. You're going to be selling cards tonight. But sometimes the selling becomes to the point where it's like it's stressful.
Oh, yeah.
And the stress makes what we're doing less enjoyable. And if we're not actually enjoying what we're doing, then it shows in our content. It shows in the things that we ultimately choose to post or choose not to post. And I think like that burnout is a real thing, not just with the common collector, but with everybody, even in content, even if you're getting paid to do it. So what are the things that you do to avoid that burnout?
Yeah. So I think that, you mentioned, building your collection, things like that. I think really focusing in on that and finding ways to even just build that with like into your general cadence of also your business. So like last night I was sourcing inventory on eBay. Mm-hmm. One of my biggest stresses right now is that I can't keep up with enough graded card inventory. People want slabs during the streams. They do. Okay. I get all the questions all the time. Run more slabs, run more slabs. Like, I'd like to. Yeah. But I can only get slabs back so quickly. I can only get cards that are worth actually grading that are raw that I can send out so frequently. And it's hard to keep up with slab inventory. So I'm going through buying cards. One of the things that has brought me a lot of joy is also while you're doing that, finding cool PC cards. There was a really cool one of the guys that I collect from, my childhood, the very first pack of baseball cards that I ever opened. Mm-hmm. I pulled a base card of Alex Rodriguez. Hey. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world that his name was Alex and my name was Alex. And so from that point on, I liked his stuff. I got a rookie card one year for Christmas. I got a big cardboard cutout of him. Like, I loved Alex Rodriguez. I have an autographed baseball.
If only he was a good baseball player.
If only he was not just the greatest shortstop of all time.
Too bad.
But I last night was buying a bunch of stuff on DC Sports. Great
consigner. Consigner to the stars, they say.
Yes, but buying a bunch of stuff
Granted,
on DC.
They're not sponsoring this show, but they sponsor Hobby Nonsense, and they are still a great service to use. So
yes, they should sponsor the Hobby Handbook, too. Just for
hello.
But
okay.
Buying a bunch of stuff on DC, and there was a really cool Alex Rodriguez from, I think, 2001 Topps Chrome jersey relic that had like a part of like the Mariners like logo. On it.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, I'm going to buy that. I threw in a bid that was probably too high, but I don't care because it's a PC card. And I think that just building that in, and then like that's just built from it's going in building the collection. One thing that I'm doing this year is on YouTube, I'm doing a series called the Bin to Binder Challenge, which basically I'm saying, hey, let's just you are a collector who has a limited budget. Imagine if you could only spend $35 a month. Basically, you can say I can open one blaster box a month.
Oh, okay.
Rather than buying one blaster box a month, buy cards on eBay, go to a local card show, buy things and either add those cards to a collection or buy cards that you can find that are really good deals and then flip them and then use that money to then go and build your collection. So we are 2 months into that challenge.
Yeah.
I'm building 2 binders. I have a binder that I'm building for myself. That's a PC binder. And I'm having so much fun with this because, again, the focus of this challenge is me getting cards for my personal collection.
Okay.
So the focus of the content is now bringing me cool cards that I'm saying, I am buying this card and I don't intend to sell it.
Now, do you ever, and I want you to continue with how this is going, but do you ever have to force yourself to say, hey, I really like this card, but I know I could get a premium on this card? Do you ever have to tell yourself, no, this is for me? Like, are you forcing yourself ever to PC a card as opposed to flipping a card?
Yes.
Yep. What is the mentality that goes behind that for you?
That it's not all about money.
Okay. I'm glad that because that's the thing, that's what I was saying. Like, you have to actively take that stance of like, I know I can make money on this, but I also know I like this, and I think this would be better for me if I decided to keep it instead of putting it out on the next auction.
Well, and there's also the opportunity for, I think that there's I can flip it right now for a lot of money as a mindset, but there's also the mindset of, well, what if I hold on to this card and it continues to grow and appreciate in value? So, we're 2 months into this challenge, building 2 binders, PC binder for me, and then a binder that we're going to be giving away to the listeners. I've spent $70 out of my pocket.
Okay.
How much?
35 and 35.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Much value, if you had to guess, do you think that the 2 binders are sitting at right now?
What is before I guess, what is the end goal of the challenge again?
To just build a really cool PC binder.
So I guess my question is, does it matter?
It does not matter from a monetary perspective.
Yeah.
But I think that it does matter from a showing and an education standpoint of showing what's possible. I think that a lot of people ultimately do look to the value of something.
Agreed.
In terms of how collectible, desirable, et cetera, it is.
Agreed.
It doesn't need, there are cards that are in my binder that are, my lowest value card in my PC binder is $1.34.
I like that you know that.
It's the card ladder value.
Yeah.
Sponsor of the show for the record.
Yeah, there we go.
But
so then if because I totally get where you're saying, and I agree that part of a desire to collect something or to build a collection is to also see if I can build the value of it over time too. So I'm going to say you spent $70 over the last 2 months. Current value of that collection, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say $100.
We are at $1,111.
Shut your dirty mouth. What did you just say?
And that's just for my binder. For the binder that we're giving away, that also has another $177.50. So we are
sounds like this guy's really keeping the best for himself here, people. I don't know if you should watch his content anymore.
I am. And I said that. I said that the purpose and goal, to the point of avoiding burnout in the hobby.
Yeah.
Finding ways to stay connected to that root of, I am here because I like collecting cards.
Sure.
And my goal here is to say, hey, I want to build a cool collection for myself. And then also give away some really cool cards. We've got in our giveaway binder right now a Shohei Ohtani rookie card out of Topps Heritage.
That's pretty nice for the giveaway binder. Yeah.
It's a $70 card. We've got a cool, numbered Junior Caminero. We've got a Jacob Mizorowski first Bowman refractor. Like, we've got some cool cards. But in my PC binder, again, I own it. The goal of the challenge is to show you what I can build for a collection for myself on $35 a month.
Can I ask how, is this mainly because of the idea, you didn't go out and buy blasters with this, you went out and flipped?
Intentionally bought cards and said, okay, at the Nashville show, we were walking around and I saw a really cool card. It was a Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski It was Julian Edelman and Brandon LaFell card out of 2014 Panini Black Gold. It has a golden, it's not real gold, but it was a gold Patriots kind of like commemorative logo in the middle of the card.
Okay.
The dealer had a $75 sticker on it.
Just to be clear, not auto, not patch,
auto,
anything like
it's a commemorative patch,
yeah,
but it's not a like game used or anything.
Okay.
But numbered at a 149, it was first on print. The dealer had a $75 sticker on it. I said, that's a pretty cool card. I wonder whether or not that's worth picking up.
Yeah.
Looked it up. The last sale was $275.
You think he just never double checked his pricing?
He probably didn't, but I bought it.
Yeah.
I then traded it at the show for a Albert Pujols rookie.
Can I ask you before you move on too far?
Yeah.
Did you offer him like 65?
I offered him 60.
Oh, you dirty dog.
But
okay.
the one thing that I will say,
here's the thing. The only reason I thought that is because I probably would have done the same.
One of my rules, though, had I just been buying that card,
yeah,
I would just have bought it.
Yeah.
My rule is if you are trying to negotiate on a card or, a smaller lot, I put together a lot of, it was, probably well over $1,000 with him.
Mm-hmm.
It was a large lot of cards. If you're negotiating on a single card or just few cards, don't get cute. If you find a really good deal, take it. Because you're risking that the dealer is going to look it up. And I've had it happen to me where the dealer looks it up and says, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Can I say too, though, one of the reasons why sometimes I will ask for less is because I'm worried that if I pay, like just say, here's the money, then they're going to double check.
Say
they're like,
what's up here?
Why did this guy not try and talk me down? Yeah, exactly.
But so don't get cute. You know, but in this situation, it was in a large enough lot and there were a number of cards that were more valuable than that card in the lot. So I weighed my options and I said, realistically, the odds that he's going to check the comp on this individual card are probably pretty low because you would probably check the higher value cards first.
Sure.
And luckily, we were able to get a deal done. But so I was into it for $60. I traded it plus a little bit of cash for a Albert Pujols Bowman's Best Rookie card numbered at a 2,999, which back in the day, that was short printed. And then I sold that at the show for $325 cash.
Wow. So
boom, right there. That was $225 within 24 hours that I made for basically spending $75 or really $60. So
was that the biggest flip? Because I mean, like you still are at over $1,000. I mean, you would have had to do that a few times.
Individual good flips. I've got a Jackie Robinson game used jersey relic. That was a great example of a card that I said to myself, I could sell this for a lot more than I paid for it.
Yeah.
But that's a really cool card. That's literally, that is a piece of history.
Oh, for sure.
And you do not see those cards that often. So I said, could I make some money on this? Yes. Am I likely to lose on this card long-term holding it? Probably not. The value on that card probably isn't going anywhere but up.
Fair.
So let's hold it.
Yeah.
Or, and some of it is also, again, making good buys. I bought a Shohei Ohtani All Aces card, not the case hits out of 2023, and they were a little bit more common.
Yeah.
I bought it for $80, I think it was, maybe $90. Mm-hmm. Within a week of it going, of me buying it, they're selling for $180 to $200.
What?
It's Shohei Ohtani. That's what it is.
Yeah, but we're off season. Nothing happened. Just people just all of a sudden.
It's Shohei Ohtani. That's all it needs to be.
All right. Fair.
But so that's where you also gain some value. That like you make a good buy on things, and again, that's me making a choice.
Yeah,
I could make a quick $100 on that card, but I'd rather hold it for the collection.
For sure.
So,
okay. I think that's an awesome thing that you're doing, the bin to binder.
Bin to binder.
I like that. All right. So there's, not that I'm encouraging you to change the channel ever, but whenever you're done watching your SCN content, you can go check out some of that. That's on the Clever Cuban
Cards page. Yep.
All right. That's the only plug, and then never again.
What are you, though, to interrupt real quickly?
Yeah, ask.
I hear you a lot talk about doing your breaks and this and that. What do you buy for, like, what are you collecting right now, Jesse?
So I had this conversation with Ray on the I feel so weird. I feel so weird saying hobby nonsense because I'm always just used to Mike getting like either sighing heavily and or saying something. I do another podcast called Hobby Nonsense about non-sport cards. It's a totally different, well, it's very similar in the idea, but cards are totally different. So that being said, though, we were talking about the idea of staying grounded.
Yep.
I have never felt more grounded since we started this podcast, since the time that I started Hobby Nonsense, because that is what I like the most. And I have been able to basically insert myself into the content, the buying, the selling of all the cards that I enjoy a lot, like the celebrity autographs, the animated facsimile autos that everyone hates, like all the things that are a little niche and or off the beaten path. That's the stuff that I typically like. And
but what have you bought?
I get to talk about that. So the things that I've bought, well, actually I just bought, I'm trying to think of the things that I didn't just talk about on the last pod, but I'll rehash some of them. So a few of the things that I bought on the last show were a number of Disney 100 cards.
Okay.
So base and refractors of some bigger characters. The reason I did that is because they were relatively cheap at the London Card Show, and I honestly think if we're talking I think you could include just about every other non-sport IP. I think the Disney 100 is going to stand out in the next 5, 10, 20 years as like the new age big chase set. Like I think when you think of like TCG, you think about the first edition Pokemon. Mm-hmm. I think when you think about, I guess, the first edition Disney stuff, even though there's earlier Disney for sure, and there's going to be plenty of vintage people that would hit me in the head if they had the chance, but I do think that Disney 100 that Topps put out will hold the highest value, and it will be a huge chase for the non-sport and sport fans alike. So Disney 100 is one of the reasons why, or one of a few of the cards that I bought. I bought a graded one as well, but it was like a Tigger out of $3.99 or something.
Now,
but
do you like Tigger though?
Oh, I love Pooh. Did you have a comment about what I just said?
No comment.
Okay. Jim Cummings doing the voice of Winnie the Pooh. He also does Tigger. I don't know. I've always had like there's like when I watch like the old Winnie the Pooh stuff, like if my daughter was watching it or something, there's like a certain nostalgic feeling to it. So like Tigger, I don't know. He just falls in line with all of that. So yes, I do like, I like Tigger as well.
To your point of the like, it's not just about the value.
Exactly. It means something.
Exactly.
So, and that's the cards that I bought meant something to me.
Okay, cool.
The Luke Littler that I bought is a darts player that he's new. He's like the new it guy in darts, but it's a niche thing. Like people like to have a darts card. Yeah. I think is so much more fun than the Ohtani card.
I disagree, but that's fine. But that's why
I'm not saying it's not more valuable, but I think it's more fun talking piece than the card that everybody else has. Everybody has an Ohtani, if we're talking the card collecting community. Yeah. Everyone's got that. Very few have a dart card. And I think that's kind of fun. And so I enjoy that aspect of collecting where not only is it something that means something to me, but it also is something that I can talk about and have a story behind, and or it will garner attention in a way that most other cards that are shown are like, oh yeah, I've seen that before, or I know about it. I got that. I got Star Wars sketch, which I'm a big sketch guy. Yeah. The more I can find of those, I bought a few. So there's a new thing that they're doing with sketches where it's like, and they're doing this I think on sports cards as well, where they're taking a card and they are sketching on top of the card. So it can be just like a traditional base card or whatever. And they are sketching on top of that. One of those, like, I am not the biggest Pokemon collector, even though I do collect a few. But I did take, so at the Dublin show, there was someone who they had a fire energy, a water energy, and like a grass energy card from the Pokemon TCG. Someone had sketched the full evolution of Charizard, Venusaur, and Bulbasaur on all three of them. I thought that was really cool, so I picked up a few of those. Again, when I explain what do I like, when someone asks me what do I collect, oftentimes it comes down to I don't know it until I see it.
Yeah, I mean, at card shows I get asked all the time, what are you looking for? I'm like, I'll know when I see it. Like, it's not a specific thing, but like. And there are the players that I'm collecting, but even from an inventory perspective, it's, I let the cards speak to me.
Absolutely.
I also think I love the call out of the like cool art. There's a ton of amazing custom cards out there. Something I know that Topps listen to this podcast a lot more than they listen to my podcast. So I want to call this out.
Don't you dare say that.
It's a fact, but that's fine. You guys are big. I miss Topps Project 70, Project 2020.
That was a fun thing.
Project 100. I know that there were a lot of people that had complaints about there There were the people that had complaints about the print runs of the cards. Like, oh, there's a lot of them. And then what they did with Project 100 is they tried to limit it and say, okay, there's only going to be, 3,999 copies of each base card.
Yes. Okay.
I don't care if they are common. I don't care that there's 160,000 copies of the Keith Shore Ken Griffey card. Those cards, similar to the argument about Topps Now cards for the most part, they are designed for people who want to collect them.
Absolutely.
I would love if Topps brought back some of those, bring in artists. Lauren Taylor does some of the coolest stuff. Some of those cards that, bring back those artists and do some custom cards over some of the random Topps Now moments that, like, don't get me wrong, Topps Now, there's some great stuff that I really enjoy. But there's also a lot of Topps Now that just does not sell a ton of cards, etc. I think you would do better in today's state bringing in artists who can create really cool art versions of classic cards, historical cards, big moments, etc.
Yes.
And have people buy those. Bring it back, please.
One of the Project 70 cards I have, I think it's a Project 70. It's a Ohtani, but it's like in a Peanuts illustration style. Yep. I got that card because I'm like, I think the crossover between sports and non-sports is something that is still in its infancy. I think there's a lot more to be done. We saw it in like early 2000s, even late 90s or something. You saw like, Marvel characters with the NFL. And this is, again, hint, hint. I'm sure you don't need the hint, Tops, but this is something that needs to be done again. But it's ultimately, I think, the biggest source of low-hanging fruit to get people to collect both sides. Yeah. So you get the non-sport guys getting more sports cards because all of a sudden they got that Ohtani Peanuts card, and it's like, do I want more Ohtani cards? I mean, he's a great player. I might as well go ahead and look at maybe just a regular base or a auto or whatever the case may be, but it's not a non-sport. It's a non-sport card. And then vice versa. You get the sports guys who are like, oh, it's an animated card. Oh, well, I have one, and that card looks cool. I like the art of that one too. And it's a GPK card. Maybe I'll go and grab one of those, And so there is so much crossover to me that so many people think, oh, well, I'm a sports guy. I collect sports. My buddies, they would think it's kind of lame if I went and grabbed, those Disney cards. So I'm not going to do it. But as soon as they start putting Mickey Mouse on a Topps update card, as a Yankee or whatever, then all of a sudden, oh, well, maybe you're seeing more people buying into those and it's more accepted. I just want to I just wanted to put out the message of, hey, I like what I like. I think it's okay for all of us to like what we like, and don't not buy something because you're the sports guy or you're the non-sport guy. So that's kind of the message that I push. And it's funny because I got a message today I was talking about like the state of the market, the state of the hobby, because Ray made a point, and that I pretty strongly disagreed with. He was saying like how healthy the market is right now, and I'm not saying like it's not healthy in parts of it, but I think because we were talking about like the high end side of the market, we were referring to more non-sport things, Pokemon pricing specifically, but it also carries over to the sports side of things, where I'm not saying it's not healthy, but it is something I'm leery of, because there was a recent sale of a PSA 3 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle card. All right, so the last sale of that card was, Card Ladder shows it at $90,000. Yeah,
you guys talked about it on Monday's episode. It $240,000, right?
So it did $240,000 just a few days ago. Yeah. The sale before that, though, was $90,000. Yep. To me, that doesn't make a lot of sense, other than the fact of, people thinking, oh, it's a good condition one, maybe I can flip it. Yep. But the other idea is, what if we're just buying that card because I saw Kevin O'Leary out there shoving his, I bought a $12 million card, and 6 months later it's $19 million. As hobby people, I think most of us realize, no, it's not. But that doesn't mean like there's not a ton of people who are seeing this for the first time or realizing, oh yeah, I used to collect cards and I just saw that guy on Shark Tank and he's talking about this. So it just makes me very leery of like what the message is that's getting pushed out there. And I guess I just get concerned of like, is that a healthy thing for the market? Because ultimately what can happen, and what we kind of saw, was a huge spike in 2021 and then a huge fall off right after it. I don't want to see a huge spike and a huge fall off. I'd rather just see a continual growth of the hobby in a healthy way.
Well, I think that, and I would kind of agree with Mike's statement here to some extent on like the super high-end market, et cetera, of like those, I don't want to say they don't matter, but like 99.999% of the people who collect cards will never even think about trying to buy a $200,000 card.
Sure, that's fair.
Is it good? It's good publicity for collecting of like, hey, that was a really cool, Mickey Mantle, like I collected cards when I was a kid. Like I wonder if any of those have any value. And then you go back and you start doing things. And I know that I'm somewhat biased and that I operate in a very low end side of the card market.
But that's the card market that most people.
But that's where the vast majority of people operate in.
So let's put it in terms that would be better relatable. Instead of the example of the Mickey Mantle card, what if I had let's call it an Aces Ohtani card that usually sold for about $80 and then went to $200 card? That's a throwback to earlier in this conversation, if nobody caught that. I'm curious, what are your thoughts there? Because, I mean, does that not feel like, oh, well, yeah, the guy who spent $200,000, he can probably afford to take a hit on it. Well, the guy who spent $200, maybe that's all he could afford. And can he afford to just lose 50% on that card if it just all of a sudden that was somebody who bought it a couple times to bump up the price so they could sell theirs, and then all of a sudden nobody's buying it at that price anymore? And
I think that that's where the importance of education in the hobby is, paramount.
Sure.
Of letting new people know. And it's everybody will make the mistake when they enter doing something.
Yeah.
Buying a card that you overpay on it, whatever. We don't want those mistakes to happen. But what we do want is you to be able to learn and say, okay, let's see what happened here. I don't think Shohei Ohtani realistically is going to be going down much.
Yeah.
I think that he's kind of a unique example, but there are plenty of Connor Griffin right now.
Mm-hmm.
Connor Griffin's first Bowman base card in a PSA 10.
Yeah.
The base card is over $300.
Is this
you guys talked about him on Monday
that's who Mike was talking about. Yeah.
His base card in a 10 is $300. That is not, I will guarantee you that price will not hold up.
But to your point of education, we see this in almost every hyped rookie, whether they pan out or not. Those cards go crazy. I don't know if they go up to 300, but I would guarantee at least some of them do. And then they fall back down. And that kind of goes into that same education point of view.
It does. But that's Mike said it on Monday. Everybody knows, if you have been in the hobby for a minute, you know that the price is going to spike and then it's going to come back down to earth eventually.
Sure.
I think the people that are paying those prices either, let's be honest, the average normal person, new person coming into the hobby is not buying a $300 card.
Okay.
Probably not. Most average people, they look at the price of a $300. That's, that's a month's groceries for, a college graduate living
in
by
early
themselves.
2000s. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, if you're living by yourself, that's
but who can spend 300? I mean, I guess they're not all me. That's fine. All right, continue.
But the average new person coming in is probably not spending that much money.
Yeah.
That people who are seasoned, who know what they're doing, who know the hobby, may be doing it. Do I buy cards sometimes at high prices and know that I'm paying high prices?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's either A, for my collection. One of the things that I love about modern cards is I really like the connection to what's happening right now. People are excited and have fun about it.
Sure.
If you ask the majority of people who are buying that Connor Griffin card, do they expect to make money on it? I would guess no.
I actually didn't think about that point of view. If the people who are actually doing the buying at those prices, what their thought process is.
If they're just buying it because they like it, and granted, I would say you can probably spend your money more wisely, and that's where I try to educate and say, if you pull a big card on release day, even if you want to keep that card, sell it, and then buy it back 3 months later for half the price.
Here's what I would do. I would put a call out to all the listeners, all the watchers of this. If you did that, if you bought, say, Connor Griffin, if you bought a Connor Griffin PSA 10 around $300,
Yep.
why did you do it? And what was your intention with the card? Now, here's the problem, though. I would be shocked if anybody watching or listening to this did that, because I think most of them are educated, even though we do have a lot of new listeners coming on. But I would be curious if you know anybody who did, because I would love to talk to somebody. Like, you see someone buy one of these cards, there's no real way to contact them because you don't know who they are. That is what I want to know, though, is what is the thought process?
Yeah, and to me, the thought process is interesting because I have no problem with overpaying for stuff for the PC. For me, when it's rare, scarce, hard to find.
Yeah.
The Griffin situation's a little bit of an interesting one, and my guess is it's rooted in people not being able to afford the rare, scarce, hard to find stuff of Connor Griffin because his prices are astronomically high.
Yeah.
So you say, okay, I'm comfortable with spending $300 on him. What's the best card that I can buy? And that's what they're doing.
Well, and I think, too, a lot of those people are doing it because, like you said, they may not be hobbyists like we are to the extent of cards consume their life. Mm-hmm. They are fans of this sport and or player, and they say, oh, like you said, scarcity. There's not any – I can't find anything else. This is just what they're going for. I'm not going to do the research of how does all this work? Like, oh, do these cards, they normally drop in value? I don't think any of them care. And they may continually to buy like that because they never do that research. Yep. They just know that's what the price is when I want that player, so that's what I pay.
And it's the same thing for selling cards on live.
Yep.
You know, on eBay Live tonight at 6:30. That there are guys in my room who know that they may pay a bit of a premium because it's a live auction. And people get caught up in the moment of, you know, I want this card, you know, they're feeling attached to it. They already feel like it's theirs.
Sure.
So they're willing to pay, or they're having fun. You know, one of the things that's hard about live selling is, and you know this from breaking, you have to be entertaining.
Yeah.
You can't just sit there and be like, all right, Connor Griffin, sit in silence.
Sadly, you can do that, but you won't.
But you're not going to get any action, movement.
The TikTok app because someone sent me a link when I woke up this morning. I hit the link. I watched the video, and then I just scrolled naturally, and I went to somebody who was just sitting there, and they had a Post-it note that said, "Don't be shy, ask for deals."
Yep.
And nothing was going on. And I'm just like, this is hard to watch. This is like brutal, but that is the reality of it.
But those who are successful, if you are putting on an entertaining and good show, you're going to have people in your room and there's going to be movement. But the guys that buy, I know there are people who buy cards at a high price and they're fine with it because they're having fun and they like the card. They like the price that they're paying for it. And could they have gotten a better deal for it had they gone and bought it at a local card show or just done a random eBay auction ending at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday?
Sure.
Absolutely. I'm transparent about that.
Yeah.
But they're having fun, which that's the point of the hobby.
Exactly. There is such a fine line because what we do is both content and selling.
Oh, yeah.
And
pays my bills.
And sometimes the content is, hey, watch out for this. But sometimes the selling is, oh, I'm going to go do that thing. I'm going to go sell this card. And I don't necessarily want you to nickel and dime me over this card. I would like you to just pay what the price is. And it's a very fine, it's a hard line to walk because I do want the majority to do more due diligence, but I also want to make more money on something without cheating anybody, of course. But it's like, I don't want to pay or sell it for 90% of comps if I could pay or sell it for 95, or 100, or what if it was 105? Is that a crime?
Yeah. In terms of sourcing inventory, why would I pay $75 for that Tom Brady card when I could get it for 60?
Exactly.
It's that to me. And we talked about it in this week's episode of the Hobby Handbook there was a guy who had a pretty big crash out on Whatnot about the price of a card selling.
Like it sold under what he was wanting it to sell for.
Yes, but it sold for over comps.
Oh, what?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But go listen to the Hobby Handbook if you want to see about it.
I want to know about it now.
But the sentiment is you can't get mad about what your card sells for.
Sure.
It sells for what it sells for. If you want the wins, if you want to be able to have the card that sells for 100, 110, 120% comp, you got to deal with when it sometimes sells for 80% comp.
You get what you get and you don't pitch a fit.
It's, it all averages out. So,
ultimately, I am very excited for your show. I'm also excited. I'm also breaking on Friday, but it's not on eBay Live, so I'm still going to promote it over on Fanatics Live. Wrestling, WWE Universe. Ray and I are doing a big thing on the Hobby Nonsense page. If you guys are into WWE Universe, go check it out. Again, Friday, I think we're starting at 3 o'clock. There's 4 cases. Pick your wrestler is how we're doing it. So Alex's show is tonight on eBay Live. Again, 6:30 Central. There you go. We do have a mailbag. You want to? Yeah. Honestly, it's a pretty big mailbag. I don't know if we're going to have time to get to all of it, but we can at least get to some.
Love a good mailbag.
All right. Here's it. Okay, so I was thinking about not reading this one because it's kind of like a negative opinion based on Topps, and I like to be more like substantial. But Ray Rodriguez says this, and this is where I'd like to get your opinion. Yeah. How many more screw-ups can Topps make before you think the hobby actually has tangible reaction? Missing hits, checklist changes, etc. My vote on this is I don't expect Topps or any company to get it right all the time. Yep. I don't expect it to be perfect. I think it's all in how they handle it. Now, I know that you had a recent instance where it was not handled to your satisfaction necessarily. I think that in many instances, like in my personal times where it's been messed up, it was handled like above and beyond.
Well, and I've had multiple instances where they have handled it above and beyond. I've had damaged card replacements where I pulled something that's damaged and they make it right. Yeah. You know, in my podcast episode where I talked about it, I said, I do not expect Topps to be perfect.
Yeah.
I run a card business and I make mistakes.
Sure.
Topps is exponentially larger than I am.
Yep.
There are going to be mistakes. There are going to be errors. Of course, we should ask that, you know, when those errors happen, you find a way to make it right. With, you know, Topps Chrome Basketball, the mega boxes not having the blue X fractors.
Sure.
What did Topps do? They said, great, we're going to print the blue X fractors. We'll exchange it, send it to us, and we will send you the blue X fractor. Amazing.
Yep.
It's not about making the mistake. It's about how you respond to making the mistake. And I think that, you know, my instance was one where I felt like, you know, I was not as it should have been personally. Sure. And that it's not about the monetary value. It was more so, as I kind of said, you know, for the listeners, had to open some boxes and I was missing, you know, supposed to have 12 autos and I had 7.
Yep.
Topps sent me, so Topps' credit. I got back those autos. I submitted the replacement request and within a week, I had 5 autos in my hand. So they were crazy fast with it.
Yeah.
The problem that I had was
autos weren't as good.
No, and as I said, the autos very, very likely were probably what I would have pulled out of the box.
Sure.
We know that when you open a box, more likely than not, you are probably going to not pull the Shohei Ohtani, the big card. And I had no expectation that I was going to get a big card replacement.
Sure.
My challenge was that now that we have the missing hit and you have that, what has shifted and changed is we no longer are in the agreement of we're opening a box and I'm playing the game of what am I going to pull?
Because they didn't send you a replacement box. They just sent you the autos.
They sent me 5 autos. And
gotcha.
they were handpicked because the replacement email lists out which cards they are sending you. So
that is where it stings a little bit.
And that was that's what I said. I said, you know, I do not have any expectation of anything huge. I was not looking for a massive auto. One of the examples that I gave was, you know, a Gunnar Henderson plated and polished auto is a $90 card.
Yeah.
Had I gotten a Gunnar Henderson, he's not the biggest name, but he's a very good name in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have said anything. It's cool. It's a big name. It's a good auto. Like, I would have been happy.
Can I ask you if the email that you got that stated the cards that were coming to you, if that email included a line that said something like, "We apologize," even if it's just like the person who's sending it, like, you know what, I apologize. I know these aren't the biggest cards, but we are choosing these at random, or they got pulled at random, and these were the ones that you got.
Yeah.
Would you have felt any better about it, or would it not have made a difference to you?
Well, and I think that's a question about the process, because my understanding, at least from having done damage card replacements, is it's not a random situation. It's a, you know, hey, you pull a card that is worth this, or if they're replacing, you know, a redemption that has not been signed because the athlete didn't sign it yet.
Mm-hmm.
They intentionally say, okay, you know, the market value on this individual card that we're replacing is this, and we're going to give you something of equal or greater value.
Okay.
That's, I believe, their policy, and they do a great job with it.
Yeah.
My complaint was just that, we exited the agreement where it is a blind situation, and now somebody, and maybe the person who picks the, they just get a ticket and says, hey, we need 5 pristine autos to stand up to this person. They pick 5 out of a box, and that's great.
Yeah.
If that's your process, I understand how that can happen.
Yeah.
From a business perspective, as somebody who runs a business, if I had a situation like that,
where there's a mistake that happens and you have to fix it.
Where there's a mistake at that scale where, nearly 50% of the autos that I was supposed to hit were missing out of the boxes, I would probably say, okay, let me think about how I can, maybe I'm not able to say, I'm going to give you full value of what those autos theoretically could have been. I'm not going to give you 5 huge autos, but let me give you something that at least makes you feel solid. Because the thing that I said is, I run a business. Sure. I'm not going anywhere. Topps is they're going to get my money. They're going to continue to get my money.
Yep.
I love a lot of things they're doing. I'm going to continue to order the products.
Sure.
But your new person who maybe goes to their local hobby shop and buys a box and is missing 2 out of the 3 autos.
Yeah.
If they fill out that request form and they then get 2 autos that are worth, and again, it's not about the monetary value.
Just a lower value.
But $6 an auto.
Yeah.
Out of a $470 box.
Sure.
That was hand selected. That's where I think that it's not about the mistake. To the mailbag question, it's not about making a mistake. It's about how you make it right. And I think that that's where we should hold Topps and every company that you work with, whether it's in the hobby, outside the hobby, etc., accountable. That's my perspective.
And I mean, to his point, like when does the hobby actually have a tangible reaction? I think it's when that consistently fails,
Yes.
when that reaction to a mistake consistently brings a negative reaction.
Yes. Yep.
So I at this point, I think on average, you would probably say on average, it isn't to the point where people are coming back with a completely negative reaction.
I was surprised because, as I said, every single other instance of dealing with Topps customer service, of dealing with issues that I've had, which don't happen all that often, but they do come up, has been very positive in my mind. Every single time I've been like, wow, that was better than I expected or thought it was going to be. This one missed the mark, and that's okay. Mistakes happen and things happen, but it's about what you do when it happens and not about avoiding them holistically. Because that's
I like to think that was a non-kiss butt answer, because we didn't. There was
truth.
that was a realistic answer, and I think overall though there's a positive situation to how they respond, but it's not perfect either.
Yep.
So. Let's go next. Morgan John Fox, director to the stars, literally myself and Mike in the hobby documentary. You take $20,000 to buy 1 to 5 cards for the sole purpose of them being worth more than $20,000 in 10 to 15 years. What are you buying? Anything. I shouldn't say. I would say any. Ooh, I was gonna say any goat,
but
even then, right now, yeah. I would say maybe some 9s of goats. The things that have not increased as exponentially as the 10s. Because I think that's what mainly has gone up. And because there's some cases where like you see a 9 and it's 10% of the value of what that the PSA 10 does. I would say those inherently will go up, especially if it's a more scarce card. But that's just immediate answer, top of my head, without picking any specific person or player. A general frame of thinking would be those stand to see a bump. But that's my first thought. What are yours?
I think that you're probably right. I think that picking a GOAT is safer from a just like there's not the risk. It's my mind goes to vintage just from it's Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. The man is dead.
Yes.
He's not, nothing is going to change that happened that changes his legacy.
News comes out about people after they pass, but he's more
been
likely,
dead for a while.
Okay, fair enough.
His legacy is not going to be changed in the sport. Jackie Robinson, he is more of a historical figure than a baseball figure in my mind. There is safety there. So if you are looking
I like that thinking, yeah.
If you are looking for just safety on your money, saying I just want to make sure that I have more than $20,000 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Buy vintage. If you're looking for also, though, hopefully growth, AKA what would that $20,000 have done compounding wise?
Yeah.
If you'd put it in the stock market, you'd put it into bonds, something like that. My answer, and some people might disagree with this because he's so up, Shohei Ohtani.
Okay, so that I was wondering if you were going to say him.
Yep.
He's still playing.
And he is the Dodgers will win 2 to 3 more World Series over the next 5 or 6 years.
He has a career-ending injury next season.
He's a Hall of Famer, and his values continue to go up.
Okay.
I think that Ohtani is very close to. I think Ohtani is already at GOAT status.
I would say so. I mean, it feels like that.
I think
the
Ohtani
hobby thinks that at least.
Has the safety of the international market.
For sure.
And I think that what he's already done, he's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. If he has the only way in which it goes away is if there's some like true scandal.
Okay.
Which that's possible, and there's risk involved there.
Sure.
But if you're looking for growth, you need to pick somebody that is still currently playing and has reasonable potential to continue to increase their card values. Ohtani, people keep saying, "Oh, like, there's no way that it can keep going up," and guess what it does?
It goes up.
Keeps going up. It's there. I saw TikTok the other day. It was like 2022. Man, I should have bought that Ohtani. 2023. Man, I should have bought. And it goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
So some people think it's a bad time to buy. I still think it's a decent time. So if you're looking for upside as well as safety, that would be my pick.
You know what would make me feel even better is if there had never been anything about like his handler gambling and all that other stuff. Because that just tickles the back of my brain a little bit of like, is there a possibility that something comes out?
Yes.
But
yeah.
hopefully not. I talking about like some of that. One of the points I was going to just mention is that, did you know in the new year, since 2026 started, public sales at least that have been publicized on Card Ladder, there have been 7 cards that have sold for $1 million or more. Mm-hmm. But 6 of those happened in February.
Wow.
If you look at Card Ladder, like at the like verified sales volume, and you go back, like I think all time, I mean, granted, all time. Let's just call it back to 2021 because that's kind of more when a lot of that was getting kept up with. If you look at this, I'm going to show Alex on the screen. Look at this right here.
Yeah.
Do you see the spike? Like this was February 16th.
What's sold on February 16th though for millions of dollars? Because something had to have sold.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? Or are you asking?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. It was the Logan Paul Pikachu card.
Okay, yeah, so that's
$16 million. But this is volume though. I mean, $16 million in a day, I guess, plus all the other sales.
And on February 12th or February 22nd, the volume was 12.5 million. On February 20th, it was 5.58 million.
But I just point this out too because like the next highest on this volume was February 1st of 2022 for 3.4 million.
See, but that can't be right though, because what about the Jordan Kobe duel that Kevin
in a single
O'Leary
day? I mean, oh yeah, you know what? That is a good point. If it was $12 million,
yeah.
So then I wonder what the verified sales volume is representing because that was a verified sale and it is on Card Ladder.
Yeah.
But it's still, when I saw that, I was like,
I wonder if it's just a data glitch or something like that. But no.
But there's something
February,
weird
absolutely.
about that.
If you look at just the December, my chart is December to March 5th today.
Yeah.
You've got multiple days. I mean, December 20th was 5.7 million. You've got January 23rd was 4.7 million. Like multiple million days, which is awesome. The market's doing well.
Is it? I mean, it's doing well financially, but is it like that? Does that not scare you at all? That scares me a little bit.
No, because I think I think the market's growing. I think that the hobby's growing, and I think that leads to more volume, more things happening.
I do think people are pulling money out of the markets, and maybe some of that money makes it into the hobby. Yeah. I think there's things like that, and I do think I am optimistic while being pessimistic in some ways. Sure. You know what I mean? I'm trying to stay as optimistic as possible from the business side of things, but as a person who constantly watches markets of different kinds, both the stock and crypto and card market, it does make me just when a lot of things happen all at once, a lot of times that just means the opposite will end up happening shortly after.
But we'll still end up higher than where we were.
Hopefully. That's what happened last time.
Yep.
By the way, to Morgan John Fox's question though about the whole going up increasing over 20K in the next 10 to 15 years. Do you think about the argument that like Gary Vee has made recently and other non-sport collectors will make of the career of any athlete is only so many years, 10, 15, 20 if they're lucky. But then you've got the entire decades of Pokemon or Marvel characters, or like the century of like Disney characters in some cases. If you've got IP like that is now on cards that people are accepting as, oh, that's not just like a silly thing for kids anymore. Now it's like people are paying millions of dollars for those, just like they are for the sports cards. Do you think that is maybe the safer play?
I think that where sports cards, I think there's definitely an argument that TCG is safer. I mean, the joke of Charizard's not going to tear his ACL or have any, off the field issues.
Yeah.
But I think that what sports cards do have going for them is, I think there is a wider appeal for sports holistically. Pokemon.
Oh, I would disagree with that. Like over like Pokemon worldwide or something like that.
Pokemon, the amount of people that like sports, whether it be soccer, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, etc.
Okay. I
think the holistic, and I know you might say, well, then you have to consider all entertainment IP, but let's look at all sports.
Okay.
If you look at all sports compared to the fans of one IP, Pokemon, Marvel, etc. I think sports is probably bigger.
Oh, over one single IP?
Over one single IP. So like Gary Vee,
over all sports?
Obviously Gary Vee is very bullish in terms of, V Friends, et cetera, in the future there, or Pokemon, et cetera. Those are huge IPs. I do not see Pokemon going anywhere. What I think sports has that TCG generally doesn't is more clarity in terms of who your GOAT is or GOATs are.
And why they are.
Yeah. Why is Charizard? Because
they said they was, yeah.
There are statistics that back up the GOAT debate. I also think that one of the things that you gain value with as well is the nostalgia factor. And not that you're not that you can't be an art nostalgic about Pokemon back in the 90s.
That's a fair point.
But Charizard is still
exactly. Yeah, you don't have the opportunity
new cards coming out, popping up in the anime, doing all the things.
You don't have the opportunity to feel nostalgic because he's still there. Whereas your favorite athlete from childhood either retired or passed years ago.
Yep, and you can be nostalgic for, Pokemon.
I like that argument. That's a good argument.
Like the nostalgia for the TCG of that, the original set, but you're also then therefore, I think, having a smaller group of people that are able to be nostalgic for just the TCG.
Mm-hmm.
That if it's just Charizard fans, if your daughter or my daughter in 5-10 years when she starts collecting, if she wants to buy Charizard cards, she's not going to care about the stuff that you and I were opening in the 90s.
Yeah.
She's going to want the full art cards and the things that are coming out right now. Whereas if you are a sports fan and, I'm not somebody who follows soccer, but I know that Messi is the GOAT.
Sure.
If I'm like, you know what, World Cup's happening, I like sports and I'm feeling like, oh, maybe I want to dabble a little bit. I know that Messi's the GOAT. There is a clear answer there. And then there's also clarity on what the card or the cards to buy are.
Yeah. Okay.
So, I think it's a fair argument on TCG. I think that there's a lot of safety there. I would not argue with you if you were to say that. I would probably say go buy base set Pokemon.
I got a message from someone maybe a couple days ago, and I mention it because it's the third message I've gotten, I would say, since 2026. And because I'm in the non-sport world, they relate, and they're talking about, like, I buy and sell cards, like for a living and or a side hustle, whatever it may be. But they have made points to me that said, I used to primarily be a sports card flipper or buying, selling, but I have moved to sports. And someone yesterday, I think it was actually, they specifically said it used to be that sports cards were the thing I did for fun, and I also made some money on. Now it feels much more like the sports card side of things is business, and the non-sport, whether that is a TCG or just Disney or Marvel, whatever it is, that is the side that they see more people enjoying and having fun with. I can see an argument being made there, but I also can see a bias as well, since they're responding on a hobby nonsense episode saying something like that. So I was curious, from your point of view, where do you think that actually, from your, again, you have a little bit more bias on sports, where do you think that actually the truth lies?
I think it's mostly true, but I think that it's skewed in the sense that the people who are showing up at card shows that are searching for TCG are primarily collectors.
Okay.
And I think that, I've seen a lot of sports dealers make the shift to TCG because, they make the complaint of, oh, well, I'm not going to, I'm tired of arguing with repackers who are trying to buy at 80, 85%, and I want to be at 90, 95%.
Yeah.
I think that the content side and the card show side of sports is primarily business focused.
Sure.
Whereas I think that the content side and the card show side of TCG tends to be more collector driven, which is where you have that, I think, better market from a perspective that, like, somebody walks up in the same way that you and I talked about building and adding to our collections of, I'm paying the price because I just want the card for my collection. I'm not looking to make $1 on it.
Yeah.
But I think that, in the advance of my eBay live stream tonight, I uploaded a lot of my higher end, nicer inventory that I have that I bring to card shows, set up with stuff like that. And the amount of stuff that is sold for me in the, 2 days since it's been uploaded is crazy. And stuff that I was getting offers that were way below that at shows and this and that. But on eBay, where I'm realistically reaching more collectors, it's selling fine. And so I think that it's partially true, but I think that it's also skewed just based on who is showing up in certain spaces.
I like that. Okay, that's fair. I think the idea of who's showing up also depends on the type of show as well, because
totally.
You say repackers offering 85%. I was talking to a buddy who Joy Nerd Cards, I think is what he goes by, but he has started working with Arena Club, and he's now a buyer for Arena Club.
For those slap packs.
Come on. If you're not checking out Arena Club using SCN codes, thank you, Alex. Killer transition over there to a commercial. But no, he's buying for Arena Club, but he buys at 95 to 100% of comps most of the times. But he was doing more sports, but now he's doing primarily non-sport side of stuff. So it's interesting to see that he can get away with that. But I think that's because the collector out there isn't as focused on the business side of it. And what was that last comp again? Oh yeah. But if you look real close, that one wasn't 10, but it shouldn't have been a 10. So that's why it was it's they're not going in for that. They're just oh, okay, well, that's the card I want. It's the grade I want. Yep. I'm going to go out and buy it. So it's an interesting world of dynamics, especially as we, start nitpicking on things. We are at an hour 20. I say we go for another 2 hours. What do you say? All right. I got a lot more questions, but we're not going to have time to hit them all. Let me just nitpick real quick. BJ Kroger, dear Alex.
Hi.
I've sent you some messages on Instagram and you ghosted me. I'm not making Jesse confront you about it in an awkward moment for the pod. Why do you hate me?
Because I hate Instagram. I genuinely, my Instagram DMs are a mess. If you're looking to sell me cards, sell to clevercuban@gmail.com. Full plug.
What if he just wants to talk to you? Just hey, how are you doing, Alex?
Join the eBay Live tonight, 6:30 Central.
BJ, I'll you know what? I've got his number. I'll just send it to you. It's fine. Let's see. Justin Aldred, been picking up early to mid 2000s Topps Chrome Refractors.
Great
raw
Love it.
Hall of Fame players. Most range from $10 to $50 with very low pops. Good long-term move.
Amazing. I'm doing very similar
that's exactly
things.
what it sounds like you're doing.
Yep. I think that one of the things, even back to kind of the question about where you're putting $20,000 into, picking up things that are hard to find, scarcity is king right now. At the Nashville show, I talked about this. The amount of times that I had stuff in my case that I had repackers come up and say, last did this, can you do that? I'm like, I'm last sale. I literally had a guy ask me, he goes, okay, what in your case were you not last sale on? And I was like, these 3 cards. Like,
that's awesome.
if you are, and I agree, because people don't realize how rare some of those things were.
Yeah.
It's how hard they are to find, how hard they are to find in good condition, etc. And I think that there's a lot of the shift, like the Griffey shift right now, is that he's shifting into kind of more of a vintage market, that like those people that collected him are now getting older, have more money in their bank accounts, etc.
Mm-hmm.
They have the disposable income. The kids are out of the house. They can go buy the big card. And I think that will also happen as you get to the early 2000s and those rare refractors, things like that. A+, keep it up.
Okay. I like this question. George Bowman, do you guys think that card manufacturers should release product samples for people to determine parallels and SPs? As a new person to the hobby, I often struggle identifying them. I personally would love something that could easily show me what a card was. Now, Upper Deck does a good job of this because they will say the name of the refractor or parallel or insert or something on the back of the card. Now, granted, if you take often if it's like an insert, it's like, SP-1 or something, you can go plug it in and you can find a little bit more info. But yes, I would love something like that just to make it easier. I think Topps could do more of that.
Yeah, I think that they used to do it, and I wonder if it's I wonder if it's a question of quality control, of you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're mislabeling cards and then you have a whole debacle there.
Because that has I know many Star Wars cards where it was supposed to be a mini diamond, but it was listed as like a refractor. Yep. And then it's like, but there, what I've realized too is you can look at the sales sheets that come out when Topps is sending us products,
look
right?
At the checklist.
If you, not the checklist, but if you look at the sales sheet, which is the data that they give about the product, it's basically what you see on Dave and Adams when the product is listed for sale. And it's like, here's the promo pictures and stuff like that. And those will give you some examples. It doesn't give you everything. It doesn't give you pictures of what those parallels look like. But what's funny is sometimes you can actually tell, oh, that was say a Disney product versus a Marvel product, or in the terms of sports, that was a football product versus, or I guess not football yet, but that was a baseball product versus a basketball product. And you can tell because they look like they were done by different people. Yeah. And they are. That's the thing. They're different teams. And that's why it's like there are some cards that will have on the back of it, it'll say refractor. But then there's other cards that it's a refractor and it doesn't say that. And I think that's because there's, and this is just a personal opinion because I don't know for sure, but it feels like there's some disconnect internally between these teams where it's like, it would be great to see more unison development and or product design that comes out. Now, it doesn't have to be exactly the same because I like some independence in there too, but in these more minute details that help like the new collector, I think stuff like that would be pretty cool.
Well, and they've done some stuff to try and align like the Topps Series 1 parallels now. Mm-hmm. A gold is out of 50.
Yeah.
Same thing with Topps Chrome. I think that having consistency across products in terms of numbering also does help a lot. Like why in Pristine is a blue at a 75, whereas in Topps Chrome it's at a 150.
Yes.
Like having consistency there, I think helps. And that's a thing that I think they could do as well.
Well, and I saw this when I was opening I opened a box of the V-Friends Spectacular sticker thing yesterday. And what I noticed was on each individual pack, it showed the like a little circle of the color of the parallel with the name next to it on every pack. And I was just like, oh, well, that makes it a lot easier to figure out what I'm actually opening here.
Totally.
And again, it took up very little space on the pack. I feel like, why couldn't we just do that on every pack? So, all right. Maybe we just call it there. I think we've covered a lot. We didn't even get to the taco seasoning bandit, which is devastating. A guy was stealing cards with taco seasoning packets.
He was paying for the taco seasoning, for the record. He scanned the taco seasoning. He just did not scan the cards.
What did I see correctly though? That guy was up for like 90 years or something.
I don't know how long. It definitely was
crazy prison sentence. But it was
multiple felonies.
Yeah, grand theft, larceny at that point when you get up to like the tens of thousands of dollars worth of cards. Yeah. How many taco packets does that guy have? How many tacos does that guy eat?
Not that many, but how many mega boxes is he stealing? Clearly a lot more.
Kalshi in the news about I think they may be entering the hobby. I wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. I don't even know how this works, but they may have reached out to somebody recently about talking about being sponsors of sports sports card stuff.
Money around. They have so much money.
But what's interesting is
come talk to me, Kalshi.
Well, in our buddy Happy John sent a link to a article where it was talking about how Kalshi is now getting to the collectible watches, like where you can now speculate on if these watches are going to go up or down in value. And I'm just like, that is, well, and first off, the whole watch thing is becoming bigger and bigger, which is really crazy to me, but it does also interest me. But the fact that they are, if they're doing that, it makes perfect sense that they would come into the card side of things. So,
right on the next Mickey Mantle PSA 3 comp.
Yeah, there you go. I mean,
or better yet, predict. It's not betting, it's predicting.
I mean, that's different. There's actual math involved, I think. I don't know. All right. Well, there you go. Next episode, Mike and I should be back in the studio, business as usual. It'll be fun to actually have him and I back in this place. But in the meantime, Alex will be eBay Living tonight, 6:30 Central.
eBay
on
Live
the
tonight,
Clever
6:30
Cuban
Central.
Show channel.
Friday, 6:30 Central. And then Sunday night, we're doing a takeover on my football guy, Brandon, is doing the SCN eBay Live.
Oh, hello.
6:30
But this,
Central as
you're
well.
going to be on the Clever Cuban channel?
Yes, tonight on Friday will be Clever Cuban. On Sunday on Sports Cards Nonsense.
The Hobby Nonsense channel on eBay Live is active, but the live feature
is not active.
We are waiting for that response.
Working on it.
Training's done, though. Training's done. Just still waiting on the editorials. If you like wrestling, then Friday, Fanatics Live. Come check us out. Ray will be in costume. I will be there, probably in a referee's outfit, just kind of watching from the background, top-loading things, and just being entertaining. So Fanatics Live on the Hobby Nonsense channel. Come check out WWE Universe. 4 different breaks you can go buy into right now. That is it for us. Guys, we thank you for listening. We appreciate it. And if you haven't already, do us a favor. You can comment on the show on Spotify. You can go out and like and subscribe to social medias. All these things, if you don't want to buy into any breaks, if you don't want to do anything, but you appreciate the content, if you haven't done those things, why don't you go out there and do it? We would really appreciate it. Thank you for that. And that is the end of the show. We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.